Also quite vocal about this comp. We had this we had a conversation about it a few weeks ago, I believe. And it's like, yeah, it's just really been Tejo Breach for the most part.
Yo, fair enough. It is that is the meta right now. I mean, the utility is just so darn good that you cannot not use it, right? Especially on a map like Fracture, where there's so much that you can set up with Breach plus the Tejo. But what is interesting is that we do have Cypher versus Vi, so let's kind of see how the teams navigate around that.
I will say I like how open the rest of the roster is, because Tejo and Breach just enable most of the cast, if not everybody on the cast, to do their own thing. So now we're seeing a lot more, you know, Vice, we're seeing Deadlock even, and we're seeing definitely a lot more Yoru just to navigate some of these maps. But it does look like this could potentially be a heavy hit towards B.
Yeah, straight into the side already, just to stick the plant all the way. Look at how Icy's trying to deny it as much to his ability, though. But Styron will quickly deal with that. And down to the trades, Vera off to tower now.
So quick for Motive. Again, with a lot of confidence and even landing a few crazy shots. But wow, trying to get this back together.
Trying to stick down to it. That will be the salvos, of course. So already seeing how oppressive Mateo can be. Flushes him off of the spike and down to the molly from Wayne to pick the run up for Motive Esports.
I feel like Wayne is a player that does not get talked about enough. He's great in his own right, but I forget which game it was. This was with Ja on his roster, I believe, just a few splits ago, where I think he dropped like 30 on bind. And one thing I realized, Wayne is so stable. You give him a task, he'll do it. He doesn't really care if it's like
DSG.
Yeah, right? And he doesn't really care if it's like full support or if I need to frag, I'll need to frag. And I think this is such a rare player to have on any roster.
Definitely a team player. But for now, RRQA Academy also operating as a team. Full push out from Tree.
Still trying to catch potential stragglers here, but again, they want to set the pace here for RRQ Academy. I like the proactivity, but it does look like their guesswork is a little shaky, Quack. Look where Motive is. It does look like they're going to go for an execute towards drop.
Speak to me a little bit about this, though, Raf. Why are RRQ Academy going for this sort of, like, you mentioned guesswork?
I mean, they're already operating at a disadvantage here, and for them to take that much time getting squeezed towards A main, still getting value off Maria.
Not too bad.
Okay.
Spike not yet planted, but okay, now we'll go for it.
That is maximum returns here. Wayne looks to clean up. Wait a second.
Last player standing.
Why are they winning?
The shots. Nats, he's just finding all the kills right now, and Styron, unfortunately, on his lonesome, not quite able to hold the angle.
Oh boy. Just to address your question, why they'd want to go for something like that.
In case the viewers don't know, yes.
Yeah, we are all viewer here. Remember, guys, we're all viewers except me and Quack have the best seats in the house, apparently, and always be thankful for that. At the same time, when you have a lesser buy like that, yeah, potentially just want to play your numbers as well as you can, because most of the time when teams don't even have like a confident read, despite having a weapon advantage, those classics can still definitely do damage. And with the Sheriff in hand, it was with Nats to clean up the rest of the team. And now it's given them a chance to run this up. I always like to say that losing the second round is by far worse than losing the pistol.
Definitely can shake up the economy quite a bit, but also, I mean, apart from numbers, it's also a bit of information, right? So just being able to push out like that, now they've pushed out into A main, it completely blocks off MTV's entry points. So now they are flushed into the B site, where you would assume Nats is quite aware of this. He's got the Thorns at the ready. He's got the sheer wall as well, and that's something that MTV have to deal with.
It is, and Maria will be the first point of contact here towards B. What is the molly out, but he looks to fight this out. I don't think he knows everybody has stingers here, so maybe, just maybe, this aggression could potentially be unwarranted. RQ Academy, though, they're being very careful about this. Oh.
And that's just Nats as well. Careful is one thing, but he will make quick work of his opponents as they try to make their way through Arcade. Moria now dealing with the front, and also spotting out the final player flaring. Unfortunate for MTV, but that's just a quick round that RRQA gets to pick up thanks to that round 2 win.
That's gross. That's honestly disgusting from Nats. And I do like the fact that you brought up the information game, because again, not a lot of teams, especially Unfractured, would probably play passive A main that way. So maybe that was the hard read on their part. Or maybe the casters are just overthinking it. Maybe they just wanted to push and get the round over. And sometimes it's really like that. Yasuo players, why do you go for that? I don't know. Yeah.
Just go next. Nah. It's probably one or the other. But also just the fact that, like you mentioned, it is Fracture. It's a map where you do have to get proactive. So you have to respect and admire a lot of that from RRQ Academy right now. At the same time, though, having won that previous round where MTV did kind of force up somewhat, RRQ Academy now starting to respect that. They don't want to lose any weapons too carelessly, hence playing the defensive positions, but also hearing the audible from the Neon and Vera right now.
Go.
It should prompt them to potentially rotate towards A, but it's still RRQ Academy getting caught with their pants down. These lesser weapons are doing more than enough, but Zarwow's trying to recover this, and oh my goodness, he still gets 3 despite fading away just like that. Pops the reach ult. Nats chimes in, and it's all up to Vera.
Last player standing.
Kicks off his own ult as well, but yeah, Jarwal playing it safe enough all the way from A main will be able to mark his target, and that's RRQ Academy moving up 3-1. Rap, damn.
I gotta say, this game has been incredibly unpredictable. The ecos have been much more lethal than what we're used to. But RRQ Academy really defying the odds here. Like you said, the coaching staff would be that confidence that, that could give them the extra push, because sometimes players might feel like they're uncomfortable on a map, but the coaches and everybody around them could see something totally different.
It's always one of the points for consideration right now, at least, though. Looks to be a quick push out from MTV, straight out from bench. Oh, look at it. Vera in with the Phantom, close range, quickly deals with Nats.
Where do you come from? Again, motive, if not with strategy, then they can definitely strike fear with just raw firepower. Trying to crawl up towards Zarwow here, but there's still a lot of patience. That flash could pay dividends, but now it's a dry peak to find the roaming duelist. This bow splat is still going on, Quack.
Yeah, you have the op coming out from IC as well. Hasn't quite sounded off yet, so MTV not quite aware. It will be the salvos to kick things off, though. But Wayne now has an opportunity to play spoiler. Has the Hellfire and will send it through. There's a gap, though, but he anticipates for IC to push up against him. Molly now to buy further time as well. Jarwal will stick on halfway. Not truly, but his health is not ticking down. Wayne will peak, though, all of a sudden, and to pick up the clutch. MTV picks up a round right back against RQA.
We've talked about it, Wayne is just that guy. He'll do what is asked and potentially do what needs to be done. Great clutch there. Sometimes when you see that orbital strike drop with the Molly, it does feel like it is a bit of a checkmate situation. Like you said, there was a gap. A little bit of leeway for Jar to work with. Wayne fills it up with his Vandal. Now RQ Academy, they still have enough to buy up and reinforce with that operator, but I doubt that they'll have the same type of luxury if they fall. But wow, Icy opens it up.
And that's already info gained. Falls back by 1 bound to continue holding the sight line, but with the flash being sent out by Flaring, gives MTV some room to work with.
Question is, can RQ Academy still try and wrestle map control away? I mean, we talk about how one-to-ones are definitely attacker sided, and right now MTV is trying to work with what they have. I think they sense that there could potentially be a gap towards B. Guesswork could be great, but look at RQ Academy. They're crawling up just right behind these two players here. Oh,
right there.
Marks the back as well. Sets Moria up, who is attempting to thread the needle right now. Jaro will find contact, Sushi Boys to trade, and he knows he's somewhat pinned down, looking for a way to maybe wiggle himself into a safer spot. Meanwhile, though, the rest of the team grouping up together for a quick push into A, just allowing RRQA to think that the hit's heading towards B instead.
Oh, and I think it was really smart for RRQ Academy to at least secure CT to make these rotations as safe as possible. Orbital Strike is going to buy a lot of time here, but Flaring still has Rolling Thunder.
10 seconds left.
He will send it into A main, though, just to allow for Sushi Boys to regroup with his
goodness.
team. But that said, yeah, Steel Garden does pin Flaring down. Sushi Boys arriving on the crime scene now, but the spike is down. And with that, the round pretty much over. Good little shots coming through, but that said, it wasn't a victory for MTV.
I like the pacing of MTV here. Despite losing a player on that early exchange, it still didn't push them away into, you know, using their heads and taking all this map control away from them, or rather from RRQ Academy. But great heads-up adjustment on RRQ to keep it cool, clog the rotation up, and mostly fence the attackers to one side. Now, MTV, with the lesser weapons, Wayne has to work with a singular Vandal.
I'll see how much he can get done with that. RQA, on the other hand, is beginning to build up bank, and right now, a lot of information on their side. They're falling back bit by bit. And pretty soon, the rotations to come over as well once the hit is confirmed. Nats, great for the opener.
RQ Academy again, stabilizing. MTV looking for any crack in that defense, and Wayne is gonna try and split it open, but most of RQ Academy are still in such a safe spot. Nats could potentially set up a great crossfire here, as long as he doesn't expose himself too much, but he's been given away.
Still has some utility to work with, and he's carefully playing around the angles. Will sidestep the fault line, has the support flash coming over, and in for it, he finds the triple, just lines everyone up bit by bit, and even spawning down the last one through with a wall bang, and ace in the round by Nats.
First match of the day, and we already get an ace, courtesy of Nats. Already one away from recharging that Steel Garden, which was burnt like 2 rounds ago. It looked so great with Wayne. Once again wedging himself for his team. But the brick wall that is Nats just had to shake it up for the rest of MTV. I like the pause though. I feel like this is a lost art, you know, to pause at the perfect time. And MTV does look like no matter what attacking set they put themselves into, nothing has really bore fruits.
Yeah, it is true. It's also true that it's one of the maps that MTV as a full team hasn't really had that many reps on, like kind of like we mentioned before, right? So far in the group stage, playing against Oblivion Force and Z11, they haven't played Fracture yet. They might have played it in Split 1, but that was a whole different team. So needing to see some more cohesion or maybe depth in their strategy, because currently, at least in that previous round, right, it was just an anti-eco. It was a bit one-dimensional. They tried to push in with a simple like A split, and RRQ Academy just knew how to work around it. That support from Jarwao, the flash, the stun, everything was just chef's kiss. So we'll see how this buy round now shakes up for them, especially with a timeout from Coach Kasake coming in.
Plus, regardless of the weapons there, I doubt that MTV had any room really to retaliate. I mean, like you said, that support flash was absolutely gorgeous. Paired with the fancy shooting of Nats, it was just a perfect storm that MTV couldn't deal with. And, you know, despite all that firepower, all that knowledge that is there, we know MTV is a great team. You still do need those repetitions to bring it out, because sometimes you do kind of blank out, but it does look like there's no room here for error as they fight it out.
Vera with the movement as well. He will kind of dodge the aftershock for now. Fast lane to keep himself alive as well. But once again, look at this. You got Woody online and ready. Sushi Boys though with the slight flank. And now for Moria to hold up from tower. MTV non-stop with their onslaught will get into sight. And they have numbers advantage.
That they do. Nats, although he's been pretty sharp, this is a clutch that is against the odds. I mean, we all know how MTV can operate in a vacuum. They've eliminated all the potential advantages RRQ Academy could get. And just like that, I mean, it played out the way we'd expected. It does look like that timeout is doing wonders. They've cut down that lead to 2 rounds now. And you know how quickly rounds can string together, especially on Valorant. As we talk about it, I didn't realize we're so close to halftime too.
Yeah, getting close to it. I think namely, especially for, you know, the coach or even the whole team, having, you know, that many rounds already played, they're beginning to read some of the patterns or the positions that RRQ Academy tends to play in. And in that round, they just picked the right spot to push into. So it worked once. Why not try it again, especially with the salvos to possibly allow for Vera to get inside a lot deeper. Economy broken for the side of RQA as well.
Does look like Vera has inserted himself in a pretty deep position. I see what that overdrive is going to find Sushi Boys, but Vera giving himself away and gets popped by the Bucky. And once again, RRQ Academy steal a round away from MTV. I can't believe that's 2 eco rounds MTV get punished for.
That's just the most disgusting round ever. That wasn't just Vera. That's the kind of the thing that strikes me the most. It was the entire team. He heard the footsteps around the edge of that smoke. It might have been good if he had, you know, a flash or two, or maybe not even that. But because it was Bucky's on the other side, I think he was kind of surprised by that fact. So next round comes out now, and there is a judge in play. Vera with a Bucky of his own, though.
Does look like both teams want to get this up close and personal, and I feel like there have been hints on how MTV, again in hindsight, should be taking these rounds. It's easy for us to say because we have access to all of this, obviously, to the spectator tools and whatnot. But with the first round, and I believe 2 rounds ago, where they just kind of sent it, they know RQ can be incredibly reserved with their positioning. It does look like they're get Icy's judge going potentially. Now things have gone and slowed down to a crawl. MTV trying to clear out as much as they can before executing a pretty heavy hit towards A. Rather, yeah.
Early info. They know that Nats tends to be on the A side, so it comes down to how they're able to catch him. At least Vera will attempt at something with the Bucky, but within range, it's not quite going to happen. Nats able to trade him out. Flaring with a long-range shot from the Sheriff, though. Now he has a little bit more going for him. Wayne with an orbital strike as well, but that gets quickly shut down by RQA. The rotations, the reactions, all too quick for MTV to handle.
This half is slowly slipping away from MTV. They do have 2 more to work with, and if they get this to 5, it's gonna be a lot more competitive. Maybe potentially setting up a pistol win could get them back into contention. But once again, RQ Academy, despite being aware of that eco, they choose to give a little bit more information away on how they would set themselves up, or at least for a variation in their sets. Because like I said, they were pretty passive in those early rounds, securing those rotations for themselves first, and then kind of pouncing on a 5-man retake. But then we saw a lot more aggression by Maria, specifically playing far more forward on Arcade. But MTV might be doubting themselves now that
maybe a little bit, slight swap ups, but you also do have the setup from RQA still working a treat. The arc rose now from Nats has been lying there for the longest time, and when he finally lets it pop, he will find a frag as well. Now Altor being picked up, it's extra information. Moria getting a little bit greedy, but also finds more information for the team.
Oh, they have another chance of backing out, but they could get met very, very quickly by Jarwao here, who's already made his way towards B. Doesn't look like MTV is gonna hit him with a pump fake and maybe go back towards A, but RRQ Academy, they're still on their toes here. The big thing that Wayne saw is that orbital strike. It is gonna give them a chance to play for post plant, but first and foremost, they have to get rid of this breach, if they even know the breach is here.
Surely they anticipate it, but the thing is, they're thinking about all the possible angles. There might be more than one person here, and that's why you see them kind of quaking in their boots. The flash will be dodged, and Wayne will cut Jarwal at the torso, but he's kind of dinged up as well. Just, was that 25 HP? Dodges the relay bolt for now, but he's running out of time to get the spike down. Tries to watch for the angle, but Icy is just toying with him. Meanwhile, Nats has arrived, and once his teammate gets here, Icy slides in for the kill.
A lot of confidence
Last
here
round
by
in the
RRQ
half.
Academy. They're moving a lot less stiff
Gun here.
than MTV. Again, I still see a lot of good ideas coming from MTV. It does look like they now finally understand that RRQ are leaning heavily towards a 5-man retake on the defense. But with that being said, the defensive sets are just a step ahead by MTV, and a little smile on the face of Icy there. Just after using all that movement to be downright a nuisance.
And now this time, a slight swap up as well, given the fact that it's somewhat of a half-eye from MTV. This time we've got Nats with the Outlaw and a rifle over onto the B site. Doesn't matter though, because Woody just listens for footsteps. He goes for the peek. Double kill instantly found.
MTV might be scratching their heads again. I don't think they've run this specific execute before, or at least in this match, but again, a great read on the side of RRQ Academy. Did get that early info. Now, I do think the only real weakness running Breach Teho is that you don't necessarily get that many reliable scans, but all it takes is one good one.
You get the one, yeah, but that's why I think maybe it's a little bit tougher for MTV right now. Jara, on the other hand, has been playing incredible support on this A site. His flashes continuously hit his opponents. Right now, he's in position to hit another one incredibly well. Fault line plus salvos. It does flush MTV out of position, but Wayne will collect. Low HP, though, and you have Rolling Thunder sent down by flaring. But look at RQA. They smoked this off. They have their own fast lane as well. Icy close range with the Judge. Styron shooting back with a Guardian.
Oh, it's a
does find two. A bit more coming over, but Moria! He's playing through the smokes!
Oh my goodness. MTV are looking lost, and RRQA are just waiting in the shadows as we walk ourselves back into this matchup. Again, Woody with a really confident swing. If my memory serves me correctly, MTV wasn't even defaulting towards A main for most of the map. Question me if they were actually birds, but remember, Google says they are.
Birds were also once dinosaurs. I think. I could be wrong.
X fan.
Yeah, we got some Singaporeans on the server here, so you know. But at the same time, it is a 3-9 score, and MTV needing to fight back. So this pistol will mean a lot for them.
It will, and historically speaking, this has been a pretty attacker-sided map. So for you to start at 3, considering you had the stronger side, is a little bit worrying for Motive. You did say RRQ Academy is looking much more tactical.
Yes. I mean, already noticing right now that off of a bit of information around past north side spawn, they sense that the A side is a lot weaker. So with some layered utility, they were able to get the spike down quickly. And right now, you even have this molly set up just to block off A main. MTV are stuck around sands as well as spawn, and taking a look at the positions on map is a huge crossfire that they have to break through. This buys further time away from the spike. Moria to hold around A main repeatedly as well. Second kill going in. Barra to trade, Sushi Boys to trade also. But you still have Jarwell and IC left alive. Where is Jarwell? MTV don't really know. This is where they get to play spoiler around the spike, but MTV just sticks it all the way through. RQA somehow fumbled somewhat, and it's a pistol run for MTV.
Bit of a head scratcher, but MTV will take all the runs they can get, and it was imperative for them to win that pistol. Wayne fragging out with 15 frags here, and it did look like they were potentially setting up for Moria's molly there, but maybe they just couldn't adjust in time. You did say that RQ have been a lot more, let's say, confident in their reads too. I feel like a pattern that MTV didn't notice is that maybe if they try to fake it a little bit more, they could
possibly
get the defense to over-rotate. But once again, you only have so few rounds in a half. It's really hard to gauge if they would want to switch it up, or the switch up would be worth it.
I do see that we have a frozen timer, Raph.
Well, it is what it is. Not,
oh, wait.
Apparently. Aha! Aha!
Raph's got the magic voice to unfreeze the timer.
I stared at it intently. Like, you will not freeze on us today. And it does look like we have a hot start to this round too, Quack.
Yeah, instantly Vera with the outlaw. Around tree as well. Sushi Boy's continuing to push out too. This is all thanks to that pistol round that they picked up. So able to play with mechanical skill now as they just kind of get a sensing for where RQA are pushing. Second kill found for Sushi Boys with that ghost. Let's see if they can actually make it a full flawless as Sushi Boys non-stop holds that much more space. Vera with the footsteps as well does kind of flush his opponent onto the open.
Refresh my or jog my memory a little bit here. Maybe I could be out of the loop, but you know, last I checked, this was an attacker dominated map. It does look like MTV are picking up the pace. Granted, it was an anti-eco. They did keep it, or rather they did keep their economy mostly intact, which is great. It will allow them to upgrade down the line a little bit more confidently. RRQA Academy are not going to waste any time, though. They are going to buy up and see if they can seize this bonus away.
Yeah, we'll see. Kicking up the pace. It's Icy for now. He will kind of slow things down with that relay pull, though, but sliding over, instantly finding contact. Contact play continues, though, as Moria and Woody continue pushing out A main.
Ooh, I don't know about that one. I mean, you did say that the strike up. I know it is divvied up. Look at this. They could be button heads very, very soon, Quack.
Plays close range. Outlaw flanks found. Jarwal to trade. Meanwhile, Nats having found a huge flank as well. Jarwal non-stop with his assault will find another player, but Styron to trade right back. Now he's scratching his head. Wait, wasn't the entire team here? Where's Nats?
Huh? Nats for the Guardian in a 1v1. This is not the outcome they were hoping for, and MTV have done more than enough to damage this economy. But it does look like Styron's not anticipating this, or at least not the moment.
Turns back though, spots the shoulder. Styron to pick the round up for MTV. I do believe that's bonus as well.
Indeed it is, and pointing it out now and just thinking about it, RQ were so good at playing off their utility with all the flashes and the hard info that they're getting, but all of a sudden they're now trying to go for these contact plays. I wouldn't necessarily call it bad either, because so on paper they have better weapons, right? They dominate the range a little bit more and just overall firepower, but you can't really underestimate MTV at this point. 6-9, camera taken out, close to maybe equalizing if they can break RQ's economy even more.
Yeah. RQ Academy's economy right now, not the best either, so potentially a 7. But also sensing for that MTV to play it safe for now. Vera still with the outlaw. He's holding the corner really tight. Good little sidestep from Icy, and now he gets a good chunk of damage out from Vera.
Oh my goodness. And that is going to be a lot of real estate. MTV have to try and fight back for it. They have the weapons for it, but they still get overrun.
Fully overrun. It's also a weapon picked up possibly. Now Moria, Jarwal having a couple for themselves. You got some stuns going through though. And it's the salvos to deny Spike Plant to get the rotations online. Hotline coming in, Jarwal trying to fend them off with the aftershock, but Wade still doing some good damage coming up from spawn. That allows him to go for the orbital, which does chip and burn Jarwal down to a crisp. Just Moria now,
30
who
seconds
has not
left.
truly been spotted yet. That's a good idea though, and Wayne with the crosshair placement will nail his target.
RQ Academy still doing a lot of good damage, considering they did have lesser weapons, but MTV, they will not be deterred. I believe they have 2 more rounds of a full buy here. And despite losing Sushi Boys early, they still managed to find their timing in those fights. And by them, I mean Wayne getting 4 on the board. Again, it's just so hard to go wrong with this guy. Sushi Boys does have that neural theft available, which would definitely help their cause in terms of just hard info gather. RQ Academy, they're not too far off either from these oppressive ults. Fully swing into that orbit could have gone wrong in so many ways.
Who knows? Sushi Boys playing it safe though. Shoulder peek. trying to back himself into a safer position to anchor the site further. But it's not going to be easy, especially with Icy and his movement right now. Wayne, unfortunately, getting gunned down as well, but he did buy enough time for a couple more MTV members to get in close, especially up around Generator. Flaring with the fault line, but RRQA have this site completely surrounded.
Woody still has a pretty good tool belt here, and I think he'll dodge most of that damage, so
one enemy
take his time. Maybe setting up for the 2v1 here. Byron doesn't look like he wants any of the smoke, but actually decides to dip back into the fight. As I've said, their economy is looking rock solid at the moment.
And with the positions as well. Varus op has been picked up by Nats, so keep an eye on that. It's also just Nats keeping an eye on the canteen, well, not canteen, yeah, canteen angle.
Canteen.
And that's gonna be, yes, RQA moving up.
Well, with that operator in their hands, they could definitely slow it down if they choose to. And maybe punish MTV for refusing to guess. And maybe put them in a much more passive position here. It doesn't help either, Quack, that this could potentially be their last buy before an eco would show itself again. Still, a pair of ults in hand. Not that that's going to make that much of a difference here, but if they can get that stray pick, it's something.
Could be. Gotta watch for the positions as well, though, at least for now. Cams and trips to check. But it's Nats in with the Vise ult to rob those guns away, allowing Icy safer entry. He's watching out for the possible classic right clicks, though, so jumping around every corner. But once again, as soon as they get the spike down, they can hang back to play post plant. They know somewhat where MTV are.
Timer is winding down, and Wayne has to make a move for the rest of his team, but that's him getting eliminated from play.
They're in with the overdrive as well. Well, down to it at the end. It's RQA with the mollies, the salvos. Unfortunate for Vera with the overdrive. It's all but burnt. Styron, though, shooting back. The time is ticking away. Armageddon deployed, but Charo just peeks off of it. Styron trying to push off of the contact now, but it's numbers for RQA as well as the spike beeping away. The round picked up to 11.
Wow. RQ are looking mighty convincing. I mean, MTV still has a timeout to burn, I believe, if they feel like this situation would require a little bit of, you know, a pause. Just to get their bearings together, because it did look like they were a bit more disjointed on that retake. I'm not entirely sure why Wayne was the first point of contact there, considering he still had a smoke, he still had a bunch of utility left to use. Now, Motive trying to do their best with these weapons.
Good little attempt, at least it's information, but you still got to watch out for the push. Good flash and a kill for Wayne, but that's flaring gone now. Moria, Woody, and the entire squad surrounding the site in full. Look at them flicking back up onto rafters. Just quick reactions and just solo Vera, who doesn't have long-range weaponry.
I believe. But once again, the classic, it is but the humble classic. He will get suppressed, so no legs for him at the moment. We'll pick up a rifle here, but that draw animation is just not quick enough. There he is.
Also move read by Moria, and that's to seal the deal, basically. Sorry, it's map point. It's okay.
No.
Match point.
You know, this map is going awfully quick, Quack. I was thinking of more of an exchange, especially with our pickums in danger. Yeah, our pickums are in danger.
That was clean.
Well, that certainly is the case.
Other than that, I think RRQ Academy are just playing so disciplined here. I think on the eye test alone, you don't necessarily see any of their players go for the desperate play, to go for the superstar play. It's all been stitched and layered together nicely. There have been flashes behind Icy. There have been stuns where they should be. On the side of MTV, they're not doing anything necessarily too wrong, but again, it's just the delay with the supportive utility that's making all the difference for them.
Right? It already gives them so much space around Dish and potentially drop now, which is more vision into sight. And, well, it serves as a launching pad for Icy at the very least, where the rest of the team calls for information around A main. Styron and Wayne quick to react, though, also dodging some flashes. So a good chance for MTV to fight back. They will push out in towards South Spawn, where Wayne finds a couple more. Has the orbital strike now online. Moria, on the other hand, is one away from his ult as well. Even if he does fall in this round, it is still RQA. Not too bad, but a great comeback from MTV.
There is a heartbeat there somewhere for MTV. And they are fighting for it. Now, RRQ have the full armory still available to them. It does look like Icy is going to play the Judge, which not only inflicts a lot of damage, but also a lot of psychological damage. It's been years upon years, yet that thing is just so hated by the community still. Going back onto the game, though, Wayne with that orbital strike again, he's been getting pretty decent volume out of that as well as impact. But again, there have been times where MTV has been misplacing their aggression here, and that's gonna have a free walk up, and no, Vera's right around the corner.
Depends though. Flaring does have the fault line on the other side. Meanwhile, IC will just push out. Vera gets the heads up duel against Nats. So now this trio from MTV ready to receive the push coming out from A main. They will send the orbital, but Woody with the push out from Sans. IC as well. It takes down the entire team. Just Sushi Boys left. This could be it.
It could well be. Sushi Boys has won out a lot of these situations, but once again, the numbers are not in his favor, Quack.
Tries to creep up, but look at every angle secured and held. He tries to flick back after the fallen assailant, but still.
But hey, maybe this could be, you know, a different play style for different pieces fitting together. I think is what I'm trying to say here. RRQ Academy, they have been looking a lot more practice, Quack, which is a little terrifying for MTV.
Has to be, especially for MTV now staring at what could be the series ending on this map. So they definitely gonna have to fight back. But you know, once again, the composition. You've got Vera back on the Euro. This is where he was performing quite well against the likes of Z11 and Oblivion Force. I mean, there was a map where he dropped 21 kills, so maybe able to do that on Pearl as well, where map control is quite crucial. He's able to gate crash all across if needed.
And there's definitely going to be that extra kick and extra motivation to get back into the series, being convincingly taken down on that opener. But now it does look like RRQA are going to march down towards A.
Quite a bit of space relegated already with IC straight in. Even inside of the smokes, able to dispatch of his opponents. That's Spike down.
Spike planted.
We'll have yet another uncontested plant here after removing Wayne and Sushi Boy. So most of the control is already out of the way. It does look like this round could be...
Maybe, yeah, going the other way as well. Just as quick as we said it.
One enemy
Yeah.
remaining.
Oh, man. Okay, I was about to say this could be done and dusted. But then there was a little bit of retaliation. My bad.
Control the space.
But it did go the way of RRQ Academy. So, still my bad, but you know...
It's all your fault, Brad. Why did you have to say anything? No, I'm joking. It's true. I mean, we did see this moment from Flair, which was great individual brilliance to consider the fact that someone might have been lurking. So he goes in for the check. But coming down to it at the end, it still is numbers advantage for RQA, and that's why it came down to MTV and a lot of their players, you know, even for that 2-on-2, they were low HP enough for Nats to basically clean up. And that's kind of the thing for Motive Esports to play against RQ Academy. You cannot afford to. It's just the most randomest thing. But thankfully, we do have the timeout done and dealt with. So next round coming up.
Taking that back.
Interesting positioning here by MTV, taking potentially a strat out of RQA's book from, I believe, the second round of Fracture. It does look like they are going to go for a 5-man push here, but if RRQ Academy get the info that B is going to be incredibly open, motive, regardless where they're gonna rotate from or to, it's gonna be a long journey. There is a shear in front of them too, so this is gonna delay them just a little bit more.
Unless they can time the way they hop over the shear very well, there's a good chance for that. But also, as that is happening, RRQA have already cleared out the entire site.
Oh man, retaking with the pistols, really not the easiest thing to do, but it does look like RRQ Academy are playing in a dangerous spot.
Yeah, not too bad. 2 potential free kills. Well, not so free anymore. Down to Nats, but Jarwow, quick on the reactions, already arriving back lane and being able to take down all 4 players after the first one has gone down. Great pickup. Jarwow now 2 away from Hunter's Fury.
Just like that. Like you said, Hunter's Fury just around the corner here. Just like both the orbs, and I like that they managed to get 2. That's the magic number you want on an eco. We got 2. It's fine. Their economy is hurt just a little bit. But what RRQ Academy are looking to avoid now is to let this bonus slip away, much like how it happened on the previous map. It does look like Icy's still looking to do some damage here with the Baki, but he'd have to close the gaps quickly as possible here. And look at that. Flaring is already gonna backpedal all the way to safety.
Dude, bro is an infantryman. He's kicking down doors. He's taking a lot of space, especially around the mid areas where it is a little bit more close quarters. So with that, still continuing to hold, it does afford his teammates a little bit more position around Art where they can push into A.
I like the fact that Flaring fell back into spawn. Lane does find one, and I think that's spiked down too.
Is. We'll see how Icy plays around the smokes now. Tries to movement his way out of it. Does get behind Wayne somewhat. Wayne still trying to burst away, but not quite finding his shots. Vera now, though, will take down Icy's opponents on the site itself. Icy looking for other options now. He's got 40 seconds to work with.
Great response by Byron here. At the very least, it is going to be a clean 1v1, but doesn't look like he wants to give that away. RRQ Academy
30 seconds left.
hobbling just a little bit. Icy is very healthy. And if he's warmed up enough, he could find some of these isolated duels. It does look like Styron will be the one to tempt fate.
Info found. While Styron's just continuing to try to keep Icy around the same spot. Icy, though, slips underneath. Slithers in, but discipline from MTV, not giving him the one-on-ones. Vera to seal the deal.
I was about to say, MTV potentially could have had a reaction there. I mean, you hear the slide, you would kind of want to punish that draw time. Although it's been sped up by a lot these days, there is still just that small window where you could punish the Neon, but discipline, discipline, discipline. MTV, they knew they had the advantage here. No way they were going to waste it. No way they were going to let go of that chance. RRQ Academy, they're still looking really good. Hunter's Fury should be online on this round, whether through orb or a frag found by Jarwow. And potentially a little bit more presence towards mid just as the gun rounds are going to start piling up.
Okay. I mean, mid is the spot they want to block, given how Icy has been performing in those areas from before. But also for Vera to play up close on B long. He has a gate crash further back. But timing here is crucial. Woody, due diligence with a drone, but Vera to peek off it.
So close. So lucky that suppressed and cancel out the teleport. And like you said, all MTV has to do is just be disciplined. Hold back. You now have the man advantage here. They lose their duelist. The proverbial tip of the spear. Overdrive. There's not much gap close. They still have a lot of tools to work with too. Iron does have that double shock flaring with his salvo and a special delivery within the tool belt. And Vera, so aggressive.
Spike down B.
Yeah, wanted to go for the peaks. It was layered thanks to Flaring's utility, though, so there will be a trade. Number still on the side of MTV, currently trying to play it safe. Nats with a quick push out from B-Link, though, and it's been heard. RQA continues to push out through the smoke, starting to try to receive, but his teammates have been fallen. So just Wayne against Moria now. Controller versus controller, with a spike not yet planted.
Oh, he knows he can make a move here. He doesn't even need to confirm that line of sight. Moria falls, and everything is all tied up. 4 rounds. Feels like it's way longer, but that's just how Pearl is. Incredibly slow.
Slow and tactical sometimes. That's just how you like it. And you start to see, you know, a lot more brilliance coming out from some of the MTV players, right? Wanting to go for these duels, having the layers in terms of utility to support the frags or the peaks, but down to it at the end, also just for RRQ Academy to be able to take those numbers down with the split pushes.
Like I said, when rather like we said in the pre-show, these latter maps will allow a little bit more individual play, especially when majority of it, or the early round, is going to be spent peeling away at all this utility. And look at that, Hunter's Fury expended.
That's not really on their side either, but Icy's still happy to dive in and make a splash with that Bucky. No huge splashes though, it's a little bit shallow thanks to MTV not giving them that room to work with. Nats now finding a shot off of the Sheriff, but Styron and the rest of the squad happy to spray around the smokes with the Phantom. However, Moria now, possibly through the sewers, stuck up behind with the Sheriff. He lines up the shots, finds the double, and now Vera trying to chase and to stay alive. He's got the Outlaw, so if he finds his shots, this is still a doable round. He can't afford to go for quick reloads. Swaps over to a better weapon, and will swing out for the initial kill. Needs to find 2 more. He's certainly more than capable of doing it. Goes for the wall banks, try to flush his opponents out of position. Taps as well. Look at what's happening with Jarwal slipping back from behind. It's a frenzy at close range, and it's a thrifty round for RRQ Academy.
I was getting very scared there, Quack. It looked like RRQ Academy was about to drop the ball, but with a lot of bullets left in the frenzy, was not to be for MTV. That Moria flank, incredible. Good timing and patience. I know these are super basic things that we highlight, but hey, you know, it does carry the day for a lot of these individual plays, like you mentioned. And RRQ Academy have been incredibly successful with these eco rounds. MTV, they still have a lot left on the table when it comes to that, when it comes to securing that advantage. And that was a stat that was glaring at us. They had almost the same amount of first kills, but where was the follow-up? Where was the follow-through?
That's kind of something that has been somewhat lacking. RRQ Academy having so much more tacticality with how their players are moving across as well. MTV, though, definitely still a skilled team, currently with a 4-1 stack, more towards the B side.
Oh man, and the site is completely open. MTV. Another round where they would have to make do with what they have, and playing with that solo rifle. That's at least Woody, so that's a free rifle on their end.
Yeah, some charity work. I don't know how effective it's going to be though. Still, right? You got the movements across the board now, but the more important one that we want to look at is Nats through sewer. Has a bit of timing against Styron as well, though. He hears the footsteps now, and that is going to be the rifle gone. It's just flaring with the Bulldog for the main firepower on the side of MTV. Jarwal eliminating Wayne, and now Icy very clear as to what his mission is. Watch down against Secret. He spots out his opponents, will fall, so that's another rifle possibly picked up. But the time nonetheless dwindling and ticking away. Nats holding out the flank, flaring, trying to escape. Moria hunting and chasing, able to pick up the frag, and it's RRQ Academy looking very much so on top of Motive Esports.
I'm really curious how this is gonna affect the rest of the defense or the rest of the game if RQ keep getting these late timings on these flanks, because now they would want to invest a little bit more towards mid, not just in terms of utility but potentially a more permanent player. They did have flaring, I believe, be in charge of that, but Teho utility is also super valuable at the front, so maybe they'd like to, you know, reassign that responsibility to Sushi Boys, which still isn't doing too hot, at least on like on the level of impact. Steel Garden sure has been kind of okay, but again, Quack, it just feels like MTV, they're leaving a little bit on the table.
Yeah, I kind of hear you, Raph. You know, like,
I'm trying to be nice about it, you know, like I'm just really trying to be nice about it.
You don't want to be too critical. It is what it is. It's kind of, I feel, what MTV has prepped. They have a lot of the utilities in key positions, yes, but you're also leaving some gaps, especially namely around middle. Let me take a look at this. Art is a possible free push for Nats. He might not know it now, but he's trying to play a timing around it, which can allow him to pull up a huge alert potential. Meanwhile, the rest of the team just kicking down doors again with Icy charging in through A main. That's the site kind of broken up, but Siren able to fire back with Hunter's Fury, and that gives Wayne some chance as well.
Oh, Wayne trying to work with that dimensional drift here. But RRQ Academy still looking to pry the site open.
Able to do something, not too bad. The site's somewhat pried open, but still shut down at the end thanks to Wayne and his triple kill.
You said there could have been a potential gap towards Art, but hey, RRQ Academy tried to take this problem head on. It was really the great support work from that Hunter's Fury to just give the rest of the defenders to flood in. And maybe this is where they would want to assign their Sova. It can... I'm trying to remember if there was a universal lineup from Spawn specifically where you can support the retake with that recon. Again, it's been a good minute. There is going to be that early recon on the side of RRQ Academy. And look at this, they're a little bit more reserved. They haven't taken that much forward space.
Yeah. It's okay though. I mean, not too bad. Now trying to anticipate for Motive Esports. I mean, that's why we're casters, Raph, because we don't fully know what the teams are going through, and that's one of the things right now. They were anticipating the fact that they have all these ultimates to work off of, and speaking of ultimates, Flaring has the Armageddon as well. This could send for a very strong potential retake play. But once again, mid is open.
That's a PSA for everybody. We have access to all these tools. The players do not. They can only go off reads and intuition. And the mid looks like it is gonna go under a more thorough cleaning for RRQ Academy. Look at this, MTV. They made that adjustment. Siren will now try and hold down Vent, but this side is gonna be mostly uncontested.
And I think that's okay. That's what MTV wants.
Spike planted.
It's the salvos to buy some time. The spike will still go down, which is not in the most ideal scenario. But that's the Armageddon I was talking about. It does flush RRQ Academy out of position. And great shots coming out from Styra and Wayne Flair, respectively. Still, though, gotta respect Jarwal with the Sheriff. Moria picking up the Vandal as well. This is where things can go absolutely haywire. Just down the Sushi Boys. He has been a hot point of discussion. We'll see if he can redeem himself truly in this round. Unfortunately, the utility working against him right now. And he's at odds with them as well. Trying to sidestep most of it. But unfortunately, time, once again, also not on his side. Sushi Boys, unfortunately, crumpled under pressure. And it's RRQ Academy happily lapping up in more rounds.
Definitely takes a lot of mental strength to deal with a Sova and all that utility being chucked at you in the pulse band. But hey, we have to highlight Jarwao here. Devastating shots, and you know, it does bring a lot of joy to my heart, because as nerdy as we want to be, they're like, oh yeah, they should have been comboed with this utility at this timing. They should have played perfectly with this and that, all the theory work. Sometimes it just comes down to click them in the head, and that's perfect. That's great.
Also being able to get yourself in the position to click the heads, well, that's there right now. But we'll see A lot of teammates nearby. Potential opportunity for Sushi Boys to let the Steel Garden rip if he has further information and a good call for it as well. Right now, at least, Vera just repositioning, still causing chaos around the middle grounds. Jarwell caught in with a drone. So Moria and Woody attempting to recover around the edges of the smoke, but gunned down at the very end.
I like the rhythm change here on the side of MTV. They've really thrown a wrench into RRQ Academy's gears. Spike is in such an incredibly awkward spot here. Woody has all the leeway in the world to try and go for a save, but Vera's already on the hunt, getting a third for himself and reinforcing his dimensional drift once more. And this is what I like about Pro. Sure, it can be incredibly slow, but seeing the teams adjust in real time and see these plays unfold is really cathartic. For us, I can only imagine if you're playing on the big stage, you're like, that was my read. We did it, guys.
It is. It's very much so a read and a great play from Vera. I mean, once again, Euro plays out of this world. He was sitting up on top of like, what, 300 ACS? Not like a hugely impactful stat to go off of, but just the fact that he was putting up huge numbers, you know, from previous games on like Haven, Lotus against Z11, still good.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think the main thing to note is that the previous rounds, RRQ Academy have been pushing down mid. So this time, with a good call from the team, you know, maybe the IGLing as well, Vera decides to go for that hit and then repositions back to mid door as well. It's just smart plays. That said, though, I do also want to note that, like, it's not an easy position for Sushi Boys to be in. You know, I imagine there's like some slight language barrier going on.
Oh, yeah.
But he's doing, you know, his best to support the team as best as possible. I mean, the way that he was positioning himself alongside Vera previously, that is a team player right there.
Absolutely. And again, we're being critical because we know that these players are incredibly capable. But that being said, we're also incredibly realistic on the challenges that they could be facing. And there are also a lot of intangibles that you just really can't measure with stats. The fact that his presence is pulling a lot of gravity towards him is already enough for MTV to work around with. And it does look like IC's gonna go deep into A.
Yeah, tempting at the very least, but dimensional drift from Vera does allow for Flaring to find some shots. Woody, though, to trade right back, then Vera to trade, well, right back as well. Sushi Boys able to keep the Steel Garden for a rainy day also. Moria now just alone. And that's kind of been the name of the game for the A site on MTV's plays as well. Take A main, leave some players around B, and they're happy to set up for this sort of split retake. Even though Moria might have art, it's not going to be easy for him to isolate the duels. He will attempt, though, with isolating the duels around his smoke.
Oh,
looking for the spike, but yeah, as soon as his barrel was spotted, that's a simple shot for Siren to pick up.
Yeah, and, you know, even if he did get one, there was just too many eyes trained towards him. But MTV, they're rallying back. As I've said, it is just truly enjoyable to see both these teams adjust and react to each other. Again, it's really for all the nerds out there, myself included. You know, I love nerding out on this game, even though I also love singing praise of those really wild shots and all those crazy individual stuff. But look at this RRQ Academy. It does look like they're changing the pace and the tempo. This could be the answer as they look to fire away at B. But no, they slow down yet again, Quack.
Trying to bait out more utility from Motive Esports at least. I mean, they've been going A for so long now. This is one of the first B hits in the longest time in rounds. So it does force MTV to question. However, Vera has pushed all the way up A main. So he's got some information to work off of. Also comes down to how Sushi Boys is able to play around B lane. Spots them.
So many openings here. I see. Being very patient, but B not looking so tender now. A lot of defenders have reinforced the site.
nearby. Well, this is when Sushi Boys lets rip the Steel Garden. Great chance for Wayne to fight back. A lot of RQ Academy's players have been held back thanks to the ult of Sushi Boys. Time burnt now, though. And RQ Academy trying to reassess the situation.
30 seconds left.
Really smart. I like that they're backing out, but they do lose Jarwell. And he could be the linchpin for success.
Yeah, still nearby. Vera as well to play around. He's got the fake out just to create more pressure. Then Nats, though, suddenly pushing up. Woody with the quick peeks. 10 seconds left, and RQ Academy has to get the spike planted. Wayne tries to peek. Sushi Boys peeking as well. Will find the first shot, but has to go for the reload. Wayne now coming in with his own shots and with his own reloads as well. Man. Vera then making more noise, and no more spike plant for RQ Academy. But Moria still able to frag?
Last round before
Oh, that's a freebie. And this half, although it looked so good for RQ at the beginning, they've been largely unresponsive. And I love the patience play here. You know, they could have gone for a full rotate, but instead, that lurk threat that we were asking for so long has suddenly showed itself. But instead of MTV, it did come into the side of RQ. Hey, MTV still looking very good here. Denied the plant at the very last second, and it does look like RQ Academy are banking on this B hit still.
This is crazy, dude. Yo, Raph, Icy has been buying Judge Bucky.
Something's cooking. You know, we might not be familiar with the ingredients, but it's really just the taste that matters, right?
You gotta love that Indonesia cuisine, man. He is spicy with it, and look at how he's already deep in the back hall. Wayne is feeling the heat off of that one, and unfortunately, he's gonna fall. Woody supporting his teammates, supporting his entry fragger. Vera now trying to launch the retake, but don't quite have everyone online yet. Sarah now within range, though, and that's when the 100 view goes out. Green light in for Vera then to possibly push out. Sushi Boys trying to coordinate with the rest of the team as well. Now finding Nats, Styron able to pick up numbers in spades for MTV to end this first half.
Dominant comeback here by MTV despite those first 3 drops. And it is looking like they are ready to take a map away from RRQ Academy. And if we look at these highlights, like you said, sure, there's a lot of aggression from our duelist Icy. Sometimes players just go crazy and like, you know what? I'll change my mind right here, right now.
Also, it depends on RQ's intentions around the map. Currently just holding for now.
Again, it is that slow pace that we've gotten used to on this map, and Iron looks to lead the charge here. He still has a recon bolt, but I think he's heard some of those classic shots. He's just not really sure how many players are holding here. But RQ is running something pretty standard. A little hesitant to push out a main, and Jarl's already taken a chunk of damage here.
Yeah, Vera trying to keep them invested onto the B side as well. But one big point is, at I think about the minute 10 or minute 20-second mark, Woody sent out the stealth drone, allowing Icy to take more space around A main. So that's more information then for RQ Academy to hold the rest of the map. Nats, with that, able to pick up double kill. He's instantly traded though, so it's still a chance for MTV to possibly push into the B site. Jarwell is low.
30 seconds left.
Trying to reposition around Hall. Vera pushes up, takes him down quickly. But RQ Academy already in position to launch the retake. Icy spots out Sushi Boy. Sushi, he's pinned down. He tries to get away, but also stunned up. With the stun though, Icy a little bit greedy. Leaves himself exposed. Vera to capitalize onto the 3rd kill now. Moria just alone. Trying to maybe get more space out from spawn. Will sidestep to take Vera down. The spike is ticking away. He's unchecked Halls, which gives Wayne a chance. Moria just looking for kills now, and our MTV recognized that. In for Wayne with the peek to pick the pistol up for MTV.
Great patience there from both ends, really. If that came down into 1v1, then maybe that would have given Vera a little bit more confidence to potentially stick it and maybe fake out a gunfight. Once again, or not Varus, sorry.
Last player.
I believe it was Icy. But hey, going back to it, MTV have fired it up. Maybe they've got enough data to play off of. Seems that there is also a lot more activity for the players here. We didn't actually get to see that mid lurk come into fruition that round, but there's definitely intention to do so. MTV now looking a bit more reserved again, Quack. They're trying to leverage their range advantage here. But RRQA Academy, they haven't really changed much. Instead of putting one more player in B, though, they go for a 3-man take just for the orb towards A.
Trying for it, but ooh. Nats with a sudden peek takes down Sushi Boys, which unfortunately calls MTV back, where they might meet the trio pushing up. There it is. I see now with a relay to pick more space, closing in the distance. He's looking for the clicks, but they're not quite there. Woody for the trade. Now continuing to tap back into this position. Wayne firing back off the Guardian as well, and the superior weaponry will prevail for now.
Nats has landed an impressive shot this round. Could potentially replicate that 2 more times, but with a Guardian and an Outlaw, MTV should be in a comfy spot here. They are setting up for the crossfire, but Nats, hello?
Still trying to turn things around, but thankfully the Outlaw will bring things back to normalcy. It came so close though, and that is a lot of damage sustained by MTV.
I was at the edge of my seat there. I thought for sure Nats had the hot hand. You know, sometimes like you can feel the clutch brewing. Like, oh, I can feel it. I was wrong. But it's okay. Like you said, there's still a lot of positive things to be said about that round. They did manage to chunk away at that economy, which is usually directive number 1 when you are ecoing. Still though, we are feeling its effects. Flaring can't upgrade his weapons and rather is choosing not to. Rocking that Sheriff.
Yeah, more utility for him, but meantime, it's going to be RRQ Academy looking to strike against their opponents, preventing them from coming online. So already, that's Wayne taken down. That's your controller gone. No smokes for the rest of the round.
It did have Cosmic Divide too, so that could have been something that they would have wanted to use in this round. Now RRQA,
yeah, I imagine.
So disciplined. Again, they get their ones. They're like, okay, let's calm down.
Chilling out for now. They hear the footsteps. They crack the clone.
Time to jump.
Again,
and
RRQ
MTV
Academy
knows. Oh yeah, they're playing at a severe disadvantage. That's all I wanted to say. Without Wayne,
it's fine. Again, I feel like RRQ Academy, they just really are not falling to the temptation of we can snowball this round. But Vera just scouts it out.
30 seconds left.
You got a point there, Raph. RRQ Academy are very devout with how they're playing. Look at this. So much faith and discipline. Even with the dimensional drift coming up from Vera, it was an attempt at a fake, but not completely bought. In fact, RRQ Academy rotates on over, where now the time is a lot more low for MTV. Spike plant coming in by flaring, but flushed out of position thanks to the salvos, and down for Nats, just to line and knock everything down.
You know how like you're trying to get the opposing team to overextend? You're setting up a trap, but once again, maybe this is the incompatibility that RRQ were hoping to achieve. It's like, okay, we got our one. We could go for more. Or we could run down the clock, make them throw away all the utility in the world to maybe get a reaction out of us. But no, not even with the dimensional drift. As you mentioned, it did manage to get one, but hey, RRQ Academy still steeled as ever. Now MTV, they go for a different approach now. They have a bit more presence towards mid, but already the utility is in place, and it does look like Nats has pushed up with it.
Precisely, and that's just a masterwork, you know, from the IGL calling, as well as the coaching work done by Sky himself. Just look at the entire setup. You had stars on A main, you had players around B, and of course the utility as well, which now just sets Nats up beautifully for the confident peak. Now more presence around mid as well, and RQ Academy very aware. Styron though.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Marked as well. Damn.
Knocking them.
Oh
Tough
boy,
luck
I mean,
for MTV, Ref.
it is. I mean, honestly, the rhythm of this match has been pretty crazy. Everybody is just poking at each other, but finally, I think one of these teams are looking to commit to a
30
hit.
seconds left.
Trying for it now. I mean, it feels as though this was MTV's only option at this point. RQ Academy had them truly locked in. Nats.
A team like this.
Oh,
Great on the burst. You had more players around A main as well. It was a tough situation for MTV.
I know there aren't any like sweat beads on any of the character models right now, but you can just tell there's just so much tension between this match. Both of these teams are navigating through it with extreme care. Like you said, RRQ are devout to that discipline. I like that word. MTV, they're also catching on, but now they are playing with some stingers, so they might just use this as an excuse to be that much more aggressive. They could potentially flood towards Art here, one of the more tight angles of the map.
Ooh, the flood will continue in. Well, for now, just tripping the sheer wall, which does pull a lot of the rotations over. Then for Styron to get a spray through the smoke, taking down Moria. That's a great pickup.
3B to be utilized by Styron here. Hunter's Fury still in the pocket too, and if anything, we know the Hunter's Fury have been converting really well. What?
Great hold by Vera to protect his teammate as the spike goes down. Now Styron finding another as well. Sushi Boy's unfortunately falling, but that's now information for Motive Esports. Zhao still trying to break things apart. Flaring though. Mid-range angle, high-low setup with Wainwright behind him.
Player standing.
Great swing from Jarwal, but quickly dispatched off thanks to the teamwork on the side of MTV. Just Woody. I don't believe there's much they can do here, Raph.
Yeah, I mean, we did see the BCJ 1v5 though, and he's already gotten a first kill, but nah, just not enough time. Okay, and so far with the Hunter's Fury around, I want to make a stat in my head right now. Every time a Hunter's Fury is on the board, it's been potentially a win condition for that team. Tyron did fall. I don't know what point I'm trying to make here, but hey, you know what? Those stingers converted really well.
Fair enough. Hey, I mean, I think it's also just the fact that they were surprising RQ Academy somewhat. I mean, this time, reading the stars that Moria tends to have placed, Styron was able to call an effective... I mean, he's starting to adjust around the patterns at which RQ Academy are giving him. So once again, it's the same stars, same A-main setup from RQ Academy.
Well, astronomy or astrology, call it what you want, but great read and great call. And now Nats, first to fall.
Nats down. Oh, Woody to re-peek as well. This could be great information for Motive Esports. Styron holding up around the sides. He knew that there would be a push at some point. So it's just Moria left.
You know, I keep thinking that off that one pick, they're primed to explode on whatever opening, but it has just been break check after break check for all these teams. And honestly, it's like, is this gonna be the part where they're gonna run everybody over and the big fight breaks out? It hasn't been.
Yeah. Planted. One point or another. That's what it's gonna come down to. But cerebral chess game being played by the two IGLs all across. Moria to save, because that's the only thing that he could truly do.
True.
Don't want to give up too many alt points to your opponents at this point.
MTV looks like they have just so much more mastery over this map. Not just with their set play, but also their defaulting, Quack, and their mid-round decisions have been really impressive. Like you said, Styron making a lot of these heads-up calls and could potentially be a Moria freebie here. At least he gets one right. But most of MTV's economy is going to be intact. Wayne is looking to tempt fate.
Okay.
Ah.
I mean, if Wayne gets some alt points, that would be, not too bad. But nonetheless, okay.
Yeah, okay. That's honestly like the best way to put it. It's not too bad. It's not too great. It's okay. Timeout on the side of RRQ Academy. I believe this is gonna be their last one, and now they're stumped. How do they stop MTV from running them over right now? And both sides, both halves by MTV, I've just been pretty textbook.
Yeah, relatively. I mean, they've been reading the defensive setup, so I would imagine at this point, gotta have something from Coach Sky. He's very, very involved with the team's calling currently. They have a good setup. They've been a little bit overly antsy at some points, so I think certainly some overcorrection on the mistakes as well. But we'll see what those will be once we get back into the server. MTV currently, they can just happily play with the way that they're playing as well. I mean, you've got, again, that Hunter's Fury at hand. I don't believe Siren has had to really deploy it just yet. So, some expectations to live up to for sure. I can imagine there's quite a bit of pressure for the RRQ Academy, players and coach as well. Coach, just one coach.
I've got to be made sure of that, but we do see some teams employ a coach and an assistant coach, so it's good to double check. But maybe this could have been the moment that MTV are waiting for too. Looking to confirm a little bit of information here. They do have drift again, and they might just go for that. I want to say gimmicky combo, but it works anyway. With the drift and the fury, so they're still very valid. Did Icy slip by?
He's still hidden for now. So in position, peeks out though. I imagine this could be one of the things that Sky was talking about previously. It was a call from the team though to get this mid control, but it was quickly dispatched up by MTV, and now MTV have a lot more options.
Well, they will be running into the Sentinel here, but they will burn that dimensional drift, and you can see Nats just does not want to partake.
Here.
But he will. He'll stay, but he'll get caught out here.
Oh my god, that was beautiful.
Patience.
I don't know how patient could be, Raph. RRQ Academy needing to retake. Narwhal, the IGL trying to take things into his own hands, but not quite able to take calls just yet. You got too many numbers to work against, and Wayne just able to refill space that was somewhat unfortunately dropped by Vera, but still, this is now MTV up to map point.
Recovering it.
That too. I mean, it's a good point that you brought it up. How patient can you be, when you're
Enemy remaining.
sure you have set protocol in mind, sure you want all the conditions to be met, but at the same time you're giving your team a lot of wind up. And MTV, they saw this opening, they saw the slowdown, and just decided to take that leap of faith. They still have Steel Garden and Hunter's Fury available to them.
Locating targets.
And it was really unfortunate for Nats to just overstay his welcome, but Icy looking malicious with his judge again.
Trying at least. It's going to be the salvos for now that takes down Vera, knowing that it's going to be the push-outs. I mean, you see the impact of the Teo players on both sides, as well as the IGLing. MTV, though. Okay, flaring. What is your intention here? Just to hold the angle in case someone else continues to push up. I mean, he's been trying to mark Icy right now. Moves upwards and does take that headshot against him. But Woody in for the quick trade. Stuns up the incoming assailants as well. So, a little bit of time bought now. MTV needing to reassess their options.
That's a lot of fighting utility removed from the table too. The flash and just the general hit of Teo would be such a great time to have. But again, they're peeling it away. Styron. Oh
no.
30 seconds
He
left.
tried to crouch to check the angle. Tried to throw off the crosshair placement, but Nats is too sharp for it. Down to Sushi Boys and Wayne.
Blocking vision.
looking to get the spike down first. Sushi Boys clears out dugout. Find his opponent. Armageddon burnt as well. And Sushi Boys
boy.
with the Razor Vines to try and stall. He's got the ult. So he lets that go.
Oh my goodness.
To rob those guns away. Peeks in, gets the first kill. I do believe, though, Jaro might have avoided the range of that thing. So with the spike stuck to halfway, RQ Academy, they might be able to sneak this round in. MTV, they've got to go. Jarwell gets off the spike at the right time. He's got Woody right nearby. It's just in for Wayne to try to sidestep, but numbers will prevail. RRQ Academy to strike back.
I can't believe they held on. Again, my eyes were just about to fall out of their sockets there. Woody with some fancy shooting at the tail end of that round just to keep it afloat for RRQ Academy. Suddenly, that polish is coming off their armor. And I feel like this is like a common thing with a lot of the academy teams or the younger teams where sure they'll have the excellence for one map and maybe have a little bit of that bleed out onto the second map, but the stamina for just these types of things tends to lean the way into the more experienced core. Economy wise, or at least ult economy wise, MTV still have all those high impact pieces. So very much intact. Cosmic Divide and now an Armageddon on the side of flaring too. So this defense is going to be a tall ask for RRQ Academy.
Honestly, yeah, that's what it is. Because even if they, somehow fumble, which could happen, it has happened before. not to throw any shade at MTV or anything. It's just it's a thing. Okay, I'm pointing out facts. But
true.
Even if they do somehow fumble this round, let's say, unimaginable scenario, it happens, okay? You still have 3 more chances to close this out. So mathematically, this should work out for MTV.
All right, I'll stop you there, buddy. We have seen this happen countless times too. So, MTV...
Yeah, we've seen it happen with another beloved Singaporean org, so...
No! It's okay. We're coming down, and we're waiting for this round to play out and potentially unfold. But look at this again. RRQ Academy looking incredibly patient. They burned that Hunter's Fury, but RRQ Academy unscathed.
Just to try to throw, a spanner in the works for now, but great and well sidestepped by RQA. Vera not quite finding anything off of it either. It is going to be an alt orb picked up.
Take flight.
But still hovering around for now. Okay.
This is about the time where I don't think one kill is gonna spring the rest of the team into action. We've seen it time and time again in this matchup specifically. But once again, MTV, they have to calm themselves. They know they're there. They're at the finish line.
It's well, I mean, MTV concealing their movements. With the Hunter's Fury, it might lead RQA to thinking that there might be players here, and then with a quiet move up towards A. Then once again, you've got this hit going back in, and again, and with a gate crash now. Fortunately, Barry does get caught by it, and Wayne also getting shot, unfortunately, through the spam. Starring and flaring, unfortunately, a little bit overcooked. Got Nat somewhere around the back as well to watch out for.
Oh, well, that's the thing too. Overplaying is a serious problem that happens to everybody. I mean, I think I said the same thing about Oasis many times now, where there could have been a simpler solution, but again, that could be hindsight talking.
Yeah.
But when you try to overcomplicate your plays, you add too many moving parts to the execute, and that just adds more points of failure. And I think that's exactly what we saw here by MTV. They try to use that Hunter's Fury as a walk-up, like you said. Very, very observant from the pond. But RQ were just ready to receive. I thought for sure that Frag could have maybe sold the fake a little bit, but no. RQ were adamant on defending that site. And now MTV, they change it up a little bit again. They're anticipating some sort of aggression from the defenders, but it's been no dice. You see Icy looking to get something out of double doors, but they back out. So now it's been a pretty quiet game.
Little bit. Icy is a dangerous kid. I mean, he's a double-edged sword sometimes, but that round, you know, if MTV hadn't anticipated or checked it with a drone, that could have been it. Thankfully, off of timing, RQA falls back abound, allows for MTV to take down B-Link. That is also some utility already spent now. The intention here is to allow for the team to burst out, and then for Vera to provide sniper overwatch by B long.
What did you say?
Go
Did I get cut off?
30 seconds left.
No, but Vera again with that scoped weapon gets one, and this should be the clear avenue for MTV to close this out, right?
Should be. Got a really good chance here, unless Jarwell could play spoiler.
Watch it, find it.
Does send out a shotgun to try to deny the spike plant. Steel Garden let ripped as well by Nats. Does flush all the players back in towards long, but still fully blinded now. Vera trying as best as he can to deny this retake from coming online. Moria, the only one left, has to go for the tap. Has to play around the Cosmic Divide as well. Styron jumping and hopping around with the shorty at close range. Moria knows that he's in danger, tries to go for a well-timed peek, but ultimately decimated in quite decisive fashion. But RRQ Academy also took down Oblivion Force, and they took them down 13-3.
True. And, you know, with that being said, there has been a decent amount of time that's passed. I mean, even a week in officials can be considered a long time, especially with the amount of strats that you can come up and the things you could be drilling with that amount of time. And going back onto history, I remember when this map was predominantly double controller, double ini, where it was all super tactical, where we have to clear everything and just be incredibly methodical. Now it's somewhat evolved into a map where, you know what, guys, let's pick aggressive agents and just start fighting, as Icy is going to be the first to fall. And again, gone are the days of slow Lotus, apparently. Everybody just wants to fight.
We'll see, though. I mean, Vera might, while he does have some aggressive tendencies, I think on a Yoru, he might be playing, you know, a little bit more mid-range. I see right there, that was a quick punish, and it kind of leaves the team reeling from that loss. I mean, look at how they have to flood back in just to refill the space now.
They are.
Numbers could hurt.
It could, especially when it's the amount of bullets flying your way with Nats finding Wayne. And despite losing one, RQ Academy are chiming back.
One enemy remaining.
MTV, they're just at a loss for words and lives.
Don't do it at
Now
all.
RQ Academy starting it off strong again. I believe they haven't. At least they have won more pistol rounds than Motive has.
Yeah, across the day at least. It's been a little bit back and forth, you know, kind of like the score lines for now. But ultimately, this round, it feels like it's one brilliantly called or, you know, brilliantly executed by the entire team of RQ Academy. Yeah, Jarwell kind of calling in to refill that space that IC gave up, but also for Nats, Moria to play close by to send that paranoia through. So similar positions now. You have Nats and Moria still on the C side.
Oh boy. The classics. Free gun, by the way. I don't know how many times you've heard that, but appreciate it's more than you can endure. RQA. Losing one. Losing two, actually. What?
Okay, make that a third. What is happening? Wrath, this is going by the wayside, but Moria will thankfully be here to save the day. He was hiding inside that smoke, which is an incredibly smart play, but it also is guns picked up by MTV now. Moria does have to watch out. He sends out the flash to kick things off. Jarwell has a flash as well. He needs to stay alive long enough to deploy it. Takes down flaring for now. Tap to bait out the salvos. Moria still close by, spots out the first target. That's Sushi Boys in with a judge. Goes for the wall bang. Star Run lone, cold, and low HP. Has to peek, and that's where he ultimately falls. Some damage sustained by RQ Academy, but still a round picked up, thankfully.
RRQ Academy, beautiful recovery there. It did look like they were spiraling out of control, especially with those first few exchanges. But once again, with some fancy individual play here by both Maria and, you know, and company, Oh, really, Morea with 4 kills. Managed to get that round back, and they're opting to go a lot more conservative here. It does look like they don't want to challenge this bonus too much and just go for the rifles next round. But why are we peeking this? Like, everybody has been peeking C. Like I said, Lotus isn't a slow map anymore.
But like, yeah, that one hurts, man. Morea, like, dying like that. Smoke's gone. RRQA Academy feeling like they need to push out. And gun's not on their side either. It's possibly a quick C takedown for MTV.
Oh, they definitely have the numbers and the position advantage here, but with Vera leading the way with an outlaw, could prove problematic in this classic. Could ring true again. Zarwa undiscovered. Well, Vera.
One enemy remaining.
Oh.
Another player down. It's just Nats, and he's making quite a bit of noise, but
Spike planted.
close by, could potentially look for some exits and bring himself closer to the Steel Garden.
I mean, at this point, you'd want to take any consolation prize, right? Maybe get a few extra credits to your name. Maybe run away with a weapon. Highly doubt he's gonna... That too. That was on the bottom of the list. I was getting there.
What's a synonym for Steel Garden? Steel...
I'm thinking.
Well, you take some time. Nats is gonna, unfortunately, run into his death. So, simple round picked up by MTV.
I can't think of any synonyms right now. I feel like this has been the most challenging call of the day.
It'd be like that sometimes, you know, it is how it is, and it's also how it is when you lose 3 players from the previous round against MTV, who had classics. So that is the result. Styron sticking up with the outlaw, so handing his rifle over onto a player with more responsibility for the current round. That would be Vera.
And now it does look like everybody's gonna fall back into a more measured approach. No more jiggle peeking of doom. Smoke is gonna be thrown out by Morea here. Doesn't really matter too much. It's gonna regen anyway. MTV, they're still looking to potentially pressure C. At least they have 1 player there. And they back out of a potential B hit. I'm surprised they haven't put more attention towards A, actually, where RRQ is giving a lot of space for.
There.
You would think, right? Most teams would be doing that, but I assume it's because of the previous rounds. So for now, happy to let that one open for RRQ Academy if they are to make their intentions known, because it's a bit of a 1-4 split. You've got more players closer towards the A site.
Ooh. Does look like Vera's gunning to do some damage with this dimensional drift again, not just to be a scout, but it's way of finding that as an opener in RRQ Academy, already in a difficult spot.
Coming through.
I see, though, trying to force those positions open.
Spike planted.
With the fault line back in to hold, then Woody to find another player off towards the back of A main. Now he finds one of his own as Wayne peeks out. Flary, though, trying to shoot back. Still playing his position around the site itself, but downed thanks to Jarwal and his antics. Styron, the only one left. He was waiting for Selvas to come online, but with his teammates all dropping around him, had no choice but to ultimately walk to his doom. A round greatly helmed by RRQ Academy.
That Yoru looks pissed all
RRQ
the time.
Academy is
Honestly,
proving to be
it's
so
impressive.
difficult to take down here, and Motive, despite
I'm out of here.
on supposedly the stronger side of this map, by the way, just can't get anything going besides that bonus round. RRQ Academy potentially having a bit more reps on this map. Sorry, showing early. Motive, though, they do have Rolling Thunder, so they could probably use that as a band-aid solution to maybe just brute force their way onto the site, but it hasn't really been the taking that's the problem. It's been the staying.
That is true. See if they're able to stay for it now. There's a bit of a scuffle between Vera and Icy. Morea to trade. Way to trade right back. C-site once again the point of contention.
Oh, looking shaky again, but Jarwao getting hit by a warning shot there. 4v3. The spike is still towards C. And RQ, they have no way to scout this. Woody could get a freebie here. Nearly whiffs, but hey, Sushi Boys. And caught out still. See? Available for Motive.
Numbers evened out, though. You've got Armageddon on the side of Woody as well. Both teams could potentially
Spike planted.
swing this round into their favor. Good stun. Armageddon sent in as well, but no one's close by. It's the Salvo's out. Nats, though, with the peaks. Heads up duels found. Great double kill already as Jarwell continues to swing out from Waterfall all of a sudden, and MTV find themselves stunned and lost.
I'm at a loss for words. Still can't believe Nats just swung out and killed two. But some players do have the ability to just do that. I swung and I got two and we won the round. Amazing. Great job by Nats to really add a lot of stopping power to this team. Not just in terms of these early hits, but as well as that stability in the latter rounds here. Steel Garden very much available if things get a little too dicey for RRQA. Meanwhile, MTV looking like a diesel engine again. It's taking them some time to get things going.
Apparently is quite tricky for them right now. Unfortunately, this engine is going to continue to stall. Icy just driving right in.
Man, the duel at the stoplights going in the favor of RRQ. Yeah, there was a lot of brake checks too in that previous map, but now there's a lot more confidence coming into these swings. Woody undiscovered just yet.
Oh, the Rolling Thunder hit out by Jarwell, though. It calls for a great push coming out from RRQ Academy right now, and Nats will be the one to answer. One more player down, and Siren and Flaring scrambling back.
Right there.
They might walk into Morea at some point as well. Jump spotting. Oh, he saw him.
Can't finish the job though. I feel like Motive is really having some trouble without the hard info. Again, it's these initial hits now that was supposedly their strong point has been blunted by RRQ Academy. They do get a freebie here, but Jar fades back and actually gets Styron while backpedaling.
Oh. And that's Flaring stunned up as well. There was no option for Flaring in that situation. 5-1 Raph, damn.
I know. Like, sometimes that's how you describe it. I can't believe this is happening, but Nats does have the hot hand here. Now, we do know Motive when they get enough of the information, they can accurately call, especially with Styron at the helm. This time around, though, with RQ being so suffocating as a defense, they're not really letting Motive get any margin for the next half. But what is going on, Icy? That is the second time in a row.
It's just a great call, a great read by Jarwell. They had it on towards A earlier, and this time it's utility supported by, Jarwell. The fault line was there. Quick on the draw with two players, and MTV no other recourse than to walk somewhere else. They don't have guns in this round.
Oh boy, and now Jarwell holding down the forts.
Spike down.
That double up.
Flawless.
You know, I'm really happy that we get to see those types of high-lows a lot more frequently these days. Do you remember the times where that used to be a bit of a rarity, especially the stairs high-low? It feels like everybody runs it.
Well, teams have gotten a lot smarter since then, man. It's 2025 now, right?
I know,
but RRQ Academy is looking to be a very, very smart team. Motive, they look like they need some help, so it's gonna be the timeout. Coach Kasake, where are you? We need you.
I can't believe it turned into a stuffed animal. That's crazy. Coach, come back. But yeah, I mean, that being said, it's 2025 now, and I know that they did just celebrate their 5th anniversary a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, and time does fly. just like this map, I mean, Motive, they go again for another pause. Statistically, they have been pretty good out of the pause, but they are down 5 rounds. So the numbers, sure, they have a positive, but for the most part, this is uphill.
It's yes. I can't put it. I couldn't put it better than myself. I mean, uphill is the best word to describe this, because you've been playing against an RRQ Academy that have been relentless with their assaults down A, at times even B, and if you feel like you want to play it safer, you know, it's just going to burn down the timer. So they feel the pressure to keep pushing up, and hence you see Vera in with the gate crash already, take some space around Rubble. Now he's getting pressured as well. Tries to live up to it though, but will get traded unfortunately by Jarwal.
I mean, at this point, we're just waiting for the punish to happen for Icy. RRQ Academy, they try to adjust accordingly, still try to wrestle the space away, but now it's Motive being a bit more disciplined. They did lose one. They're not gonna be around for that dimensional drift, as Styron still has Armageddon in his back pocket. So it could be enticing.
His ults.
I know, they're like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that. We'd have ults. We will throw all of this at the poor soul that is on C if we need to.
Timing on that drone from Woody though, it just cleared out A at the best possible, well, phase of the round. So now this is an RRQ Academy that could be very well informed as to where this hit is going. So even with the Rolling Thunder, you can already see Nats vacating the site. Meanwhile, you got Morea, I think that's Woody as well, just to check Hitler. They see that no one's there, and they get themselves in position to strike. Spike plant denied.
That's perfect. That's perfect. But they still have enough room to get that going, and now Steel Garden is also being expended. Look at RRQ Academy. They're looking to jump on this as soon as that bar empties.
Go ahead. Stand
Jump. Let's go. Nats kicking down the door straight in. Instantly traded by Siren, thankfully for MTV. Wayne in position as well, but Woody from Waterfall finds the angle. Styron now trying to keep himself spotting out heads. He does find something though, but needs to play the angle a little bit safer now. 2 players up against him, and he nails the spray transfer. Clutch from Styron, the IGL.
Ew, leading by example is Styron. Holding down the fort for his team. Gets that nasty spray down. Ultimately a 3rd kill for himself too. Oh my goodness, the chess match continues. But it is chess boxing. People are still throwing haymakers left and right.
I like that. Nice.
Oh man. Okay, we talked about RRQ Academy. You know, maybe feeling the growing pains of being a younger team. Hopefully this isn't the round to get into their head. It was like, okay, it's fine. We still have a lead, but this is what happened on Pearl 2. They had a pretty good lead. Motive come back out of the pause, by the way. Get proactive. And it looks like it could be the same tail. Oh my.
Jarwal still ahead. He fault lines them as they open up the door. Vera might have snuck through. Goes up the clone as well, but instantly spotted. Jarwal, the IGL, doing some fragging off his own on the other side as Nats finishes off the job.
Job well done. RRQ Academy, they hold the tide back for now. Motive. 3 more rounds to potentially make this competitive, but economy states otherwise. We'll have to work with a Bulldog and not much else. Although these eco rounds have been pretty unpredictable. But once again, you know, I just realized too, Motive, when they don't have the dimensional, they're not necessarily a team that likes to sneak their way into the more dangerous side of the map or try to cut off rotation. They're a very front-facing team.
Front-facing is right, and sometimes that is their downfall as Nats blinds them up after taking down Vera. Repositions as well to try to find a little bit more, but unfortunately falls, and that's going to be Rolling Thunder from Jarwal now to allow for the rest of his team to continue swarming the site. Not quite for now. Does allow for Wayne to pick up the Vandal. Sushi Boy's trying to shoot back
man.
as well, but here comes Icy. The overdrive has been ripped. Tries to spot out the last player, and he hops in. Look at that movement. Blazing down Sushi Boys and RRQ Academy for the 8th.
One more round to... Actually, 2 more rounds to really dominate this half for RRQ Academy. Again, sure, they experience a little bit of a slowdown later on, but with enough of a margin, they could be well rested coming out of those rounds that I'd expect Motive to retaliate with. Again, thematically, or maybe not even thematically. I think track record-wise for this series alone, they've had a lot of slow starts. And now Icy is... Come on, dude. You can't do that like a 3rd time. That's just not fair.
Oh, yes, he can when his team is supporting him to do that. Sushi Boys, though, great on fire back with a classic, but still, Morea close by. Swaps over to the shorty just for safe measure. Sushi Boys with a reload close by, so RQ Academy quite aware for it. Meanwhile, Nats beginning to hover around. Jarwal with a spam through the smoke, and they've spotted out Sushi Boys.
You got a friend in Woody finding that final kill there.
In the half.
And it's just been a utility masterclass for RRQ Academy. I mean, this is almost a mirror match, right? If anything, there should be a little bit more throwables on the side of Motive, but potentially being a more straightforward team, a more front-facing team, is providing a mismatch that RRQ Academy is working on so well. Nats is the operator now too, so he's looking to run this up a bit more. Oh, come on, Maria. Surely you're not that ambitious, right?
You never know. Well, he will backtrack for now to a safer position, back in towards a link. The rest of the team holding. Oh, this... Are they setting for retake? Woody is 1 point away from the alt orb, and Nats does have Steel Garden.
Oh no, they're gonna butt heads again. It's fracture all over again.
Yeah, well, this time it favors Styron for now. I say that, he gets traded. Sushi Boys close by. Woody still keeping his sights zeroed in, but Sushi Boys will be able to refrag.
Styron. That Armageddon could have been so useful to keep them competitive, but RQ Academy, they've already lost 2 members. They've won this specific situation out. Do they know Morea is in the smoke? This man is so audacious. It is.
Slippery as well as he TP's on the same spot. I see attempting to get more space for his team, but unfortunately falls and crumbles. So RQ Academy maybe somewhat overplaying their hand. They left A rather open, even though it might have been intentional. Nats needing to tee this one up for himself. Will attempt at that with the Steel Garden. Does get stunned up, but in with the shots. The duels isolated. Just Sushi Boys, and he has an ult of his own. The Thai player, the Thai legend who's been on huge squads before. Right back up from tier 1. We'll see if he can live up to that big household name. Arcros flashed up and in for the peak. He gets the burst and to bring the round to an end. It is the first half closing in at a 9-3.
They do finish the half strong, but this is still going to be a difficult and arduous journey here, especially when RQ Academy are slowly building up a bank of confidence. Again, such a bold lead. It is still Rap and Quack on the desk as the action continues.
And right off the rip already, Salvos to gain more control over Rubble, but it's quickly sidestepped thanks to IC and his movement. You do have Styron, and he has to be prepared for a possible hit. The mid-round call from RQ Academy into the B site.
Again, Motive, we know how strong they are when it comes to just adjusting on the fly, but we're worried if discussion is even enough for a comeback. They will definitely thread the needle here, but RQ Academy will get that plant down without a hitch.
Oh, not only is it without a hitch, things get even better as Jarwal continues pushing up alongside his teammates. Vera, though, fire back. It's the Sheriff in the hands of this young gun. some salvos away.
What?
More space found. I see then to strike back against Wayne. Vera strikes back again. Oh, you got the 1-on-2 now. Morea, the paranoia to flush Vera out of position. The footsteps have been heard. He buys more time. Vera, though, online for the ace, possibly. And he will collect and has enough time for the spike defuse. What an unbelievable round for MTV.
Ace.
He should, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
0.08.
Again.
Okay. That I was skeptical. I was really squinting my eyes there if he had enough time, but you know what? That is going in the highlight reel, and that should be what props up the rest of the team to go crazy. Hero with the sheriff buy. Now, normally, guys, in random lobbies, when you see the Yoru buy a sheriff, it is not a very good sign. But when that Yoru is Vera, you are in a mighty good hands. RQ Academy reeling from that one just a little bit, but they do have a lot of room to work with here. No need to throw this lead away. I said no need to throw this lead away, guys. Come on now. Calm down.
They're good. They get map control. You got the shear wall up, I see as well. Sushi Boys with the Spectre. That's a close range weapon. He gets tripped up by himself on the other side. I think he was trying to get ahead of it. But someone undetected will be able to capitalize. That's a double kill now. And in with the fault line, it does stun up some of the opponents. Jarwell low HP. As he tries to sidestep, he will get hunted and chased by Wayne.
I thought that could have been a disaster there with the wall, the shear pushing him outside, but hey, you know what? It all worked out in the end. It gave him a little bit more space and safety to actually go for the spray down there. RQ Academy not really doing too much damage. They get Sushi Boys, but that was already off. 2 frags going in the way of the Thai Legend, as you mentioned. And now the bonus has been an incredibly volatile round for really both these teams. It could go either way here, especially with how Motive is or has allowed their guns to scale. These Bulldogs and the pair of the Marksman rifles can very well contest these Vandals.
There's a really good chance for it for sure. We'll have to keep our eyes on Vera as well as he continues marking rubble. MTV though.
Well, MTV, they've had a number of ideas. And right now, being patient is paying off. Look at the forward map control by Vera, though. He knows he can just gate crash out. I like it a lot.
And then the high-low setup outside of B. You gotta be careful because it's possibly a full push. Thankfully, it gets slowed down with the fault line from flaring. So,
oh my goodness.
more information. Mid-round calls from RQ Academy into the C site. You got those razor vines ready, thankfully, because of Sushi Boys, but still, Wayne, unfortunately, diving to his death. Sushi Boys able to collect back. Salvos to attempt at pushing him out of position. He will get blinded, but still good for now. Unfortunately, shot not quite landing its mark. Styron and flaring to trade right back then for Morea to find one against Vera. 1v2. Just around the edge of the smoke net. Threads the angle.
Ooh, that looked dicey for a good minute there, but again, RQ, they stop the bleeding before it becomes too serious. Motive though, that is 2-1. Like I said, these rather like we said, these bonuses have been incredibly volatile, and with the sheer amount of raw firepower Motive can bring to the table, it does become an incredibly respectable challenge. I like the fact that RQ just didn't blindly bum rush. And I feel like we've been talking about it so much. RQ Academy are such a disciplined team. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, you can feel, you know, the layers of utility that they have, and once again allows now for Nats to get a quick play shot against Vera, who has been, you know, quite a key factor for MTV.
He has been, but now getting found, Motive might just have to adjust their defense to something a little bit more compact, but now they've discovered 2 players here toward trouble. Are RQ still going to defy this?
They might try. They could flash out, flaring, well, nearby as well, though. He has the fault line potentially set up for this. Okay, flashes from Jarwell. Fault line finally from flaring. Does stun them somewhat. Siren though flush out of position with the salvos. Then the mid-round call. They saw the fault line. Now they are thinking that there's only one person on B.
Flaring?
It would be right.
Rip and tear.
Oh man, we played this to perfection.
And they go back into
One
C.
enemy remaining.
Again,
30
it's
seconds
just this is crazy. Like, you could probably write a book on all the good things RQ Academy did that round. They first get the advantage on that pickup, displace the defense, and now check if there's any shifting towards A. They know there possibly can't be 3 people here after that -1, right? They play their odds so well. And despite getting an isolated fight towards B, they still win it out off the sheer pressure from all the previous exchanges. And now RQ Academy, their economy is absolutely perfect with a lot more ults knocking at their doors. Motive with sheriffs, unfortunately, are looking like they're hobbling for the rest of this map.
Yeah, once they reach up to the 12, that's exactly what it's going to be, Raph. I hate to say it, man, but this is dire straits now for MTV. Meanwhile, RQ Academy, dude, this is phenomenal calling from Jarwao.
I love that band. You're right.
Me too.
It is currently difficult for Motive, but we have some praises about how patient and honestly mentally strong they are when it comes to these comebacks. And considering they're undefeated at the moment, they could still rally. This one last round of regulation, but RQ Academy again playing this so well. They get that -1, they reset to neutral, play off their advantage, and they're still forcing MTV to be the ones to be a bit more proactive. And it's just not working. Oh my goodness. Barrett does get 1, but there's just not enough.
Painful.
Spike planted.
I mean, as much as we want to support MTV as fans of them, right? But that was a situation where they only had a high-low setup on the C site and nothing else. And now, just Sushi Boys, Sheriff, small arms, nothing much to do. It's going to be map and series point. RQ Academy potentially bulldozing over MTV.
But I also like the dynamic of this matchup. It's been a lot more team cohesion on the side of RQ Academy versus a lot more individual moments on the side of Motive, especially on that Pearl map where a lot of star power was used to really body check their way to the finish line. Of course, there is team play still very much present, but Motive trying to adjust his defense. But look at this. How deep is RQ right now? Come on, dude. No way they... Oh, no.
The dude just B-hopped his way into the C site from B. And all of a sudden, it's overdrive as well. Guns down, Sushi Boys. MTV are left dazed and confused. They're trying to recollect themselves and start beginning with a kill against Icy. Dimensional drip now from there to spot out Morea, who TP's away. Look at that. Armageddon being ripped as well by Siren, but nobody is in position of that. Nats, though, then flooding back in to take down Vera. And Wayne finding a trade of his own. 2 more now. Morea and Woody. One playing from behind as he canceled the TP. And Woody has the Armageddon as well for post-plant. Time is a huge factor, and it is burning away. Siren desperately tries to go for the stick, but the ult pretty much gives the round over to RQ Academy. Signed, sealed, and delivered, Raph.